Most people give themselves a challenge or resolution on New Year's Eve. But let's be honest, those almost never work out because they're based on peer pressure or made in the moment of New Year's celebration and kind of a spur of the moment feeling. So today we're going to talk about a challenge I found called the 75 Hard Challenge that we're going to do before the New Year's wave of resolutions or made in the moment of New Year's celebration. Welcome back to the channel. So you may have heard me mention in a previous video that I injured my ribs a few weeks ago. Details aren't really important here, but I was really concerned that I probably broke my ribs. It was that bad. Luckily, I did not break my ribs, but they were badly bruised and pretty painful, not only when trying to move around in the gym, but even just deep breathing would make it obvious that there was some sort of intercostal muscles that were tight or injured. Because of this, I had to take a break for a few weeks from the gym. I tried a few times to continue, but it would just re-inflame the entire side of my ribs. But now I'm back, pain-free movement, and I'm ready to attack the gym again. But I wanted to really make up for lost time and bring it up to another level, and at the same time, try to improve my overall health, both mental and physical, while coming up with ideas on how to go back and attack these goals. I found an interesting challenge online called the 75 Hard Challenge. This is a 75-day challenge that, though it's physical, is actually primarily a mental challenge as well. So here are the rules. Rule 1, follow a diet. This can be a diet of your choice. The only catch here is that it has to be a structured plan designed with physical improvement in mind. So for me, I'm going to be following a diet called the Renaissance Periodization Diet. It's called RP Diet online for short. This is a diet for people looking to improve their athletic performance and follows a macro-based and meal timing approach. You can find out more in the links below this video and see their products, which include a mobile app, templates, and even one-on-one coaching if you want to spend the money for that, in addition to workout programs that they also sell. While I'll be following this particular diet or your eating plan, I don't want to call it a diet because it's diet implies it's a temporary change, and your eating plan is more of like a lifestyle. So you should be doing that consistently, whether or not you're trying to lose weight or whatever. If you are doing this challenge, though, you can do any structured diet you feel good about using, whether that's intermittent fasting, keto, Whole30, Atkins, paleo, whatever you feel is going to give you the best results for you while being maintainable. Number 2, you must complete 2 45-minute workouts, one of which must be outside. I think this is going to be the hardest part from both a time needed stance and the going outside, because it's about to get cold in most places because winter is coming. My plan is to do my normal weight workouts, and I usually try to run 3 times a week. But on the days when I wouldn't have a run scheduled, I'll probably just go outside and walk for 45 minutes. I might have to bundle up because it's going to be cold outside soon. Actually, it already kind of is, but that's my plan. And then on the weekends, when I wouldn't normally have anything scheduled, I'll either do a long run or go for a ruck march to make up those 45-minute blocks and meet the outdoor requirement. I think that this is by far going to be the hardest part of the challenge, just because of the time and outdoor requirements. Keep in mind, for this challenge, workout is a pretty broad definition. So for me, I'll be doing a fairly intense weight workout and then running or walking, twice a day, basically. But for you, or for anybody else who wants to do this challenge, your 2 45-minute sessions could be 2 45-minute walks or 2 45-minute slow indoor bike rides or whatever. It doesn't matter what they are. It's just that they need to be something that you do for 45 minutes that's within your ability, something that will meet this requirement, but that you feel that you can do for the full 75 days and is sustainable for those 75 days. So you don't want to go really hard really quickly and then burn out on day 10 of this 75-day journey. You want to be picking goals that you can do that are sustainable for those 75 days. Number 3, absolutely no alcohol or cheat meals. This shouldn't be too much of an issue for me personally. I don't really drink. It's never really been a thing I enjoy. As for cheat meals, I think not having one for 75 days is completely doable. That's absolutely only no alcohol, 2.5 months. So I think that's completely doable and sustainable. 4, take a picture every day. Pretty straightforward here. These don't have to be for other people's viewing. This is strictly for you. This is just so you have a visual log of progress, because the scale doesn't always show the truth of your progress. Your weight, I mean, you might have some sort of, fat, I don't want to say conversion because fat doesn't turn to muscle, but you could be losing fat and putting on a little bit of muscle, and your weight would stay exactly the same during this 75-day journey, and you might feel, really down about it because that the weight's not changing. But if you have a visual representation, or maybe you're taking measurements or something, you might see progress that is not being shown strictly on a scale. 5, drink a gallon of water a day. Again, this seems pretty straightforward, but in practice, it can be pretty difficult especially if you're not used to consuming that much water, because it is a lot of water. You might want to start off with a smaller amount, maybe like half a gallon or something, and promise that you will continually increase it during the challenge until you can get up to the gallon of water. I've been drinking a gallon of water already on some days, but I'm not really consistent with it. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I just get really busy, especially on weekends when my schedule is a lot less structured. So for me, this is going to be more of a discipline practice, not so much can I get in a gallon of water, but can I do it consistently, especially on weekends when I might be running errands, shooting these episodes, have much less structure to my day because I'm not actually at my day job. That's going to be the hardest part, I think, for me, as far as the drinking that much water every day, is going to be remembering to do it, because it's not like something you can delay all day long and then try to jam in a gallon of water at the end of the night. That's not going to go well, and that could actually be a little dangerous, so don't do that. Number 6, read 10 pages of a book. Audiobooks don't count technically for the challenge from what I could see online, but I'll get into that a little bit later. The idea here is to mentally discipline yourself to continue to learn through reading. I couldn't find a rule that said fiction or nonfiction exclusively, so I'll leave that up to you if you want to do this challenge, but I'll be focusing on a backlog of nonfiction that I have. I have a bunch of like interesting science books, or like, health books and leadership books, business books that I have, and I just have not had the time or the discipline, honestly, to sit down and read them. So this is going to be a good challenge for me to try and tackle a bit of that backlog. Now, some people might say, why no audio books? That's not fair. It's difficult for me to read or whatever. But I think that the reason that they say that for this particular challenge is because with audiobooks, and you kind of have this same phenomenon with podcasts or something like that, or maybe even just letting YouTube play, is that you can kind of listen to it and kind of partially engage and zone out on the actual content and be less engaged. But I would say that if for some reason you just don't think that you just can't physically read the book, whether you have some problem with reading or something like that, and you just can't do it, like just physically can't do it, then by all means use the audiobooks. I don't think that you should be. This challenge says that you should be no compromise and all this go get it energy, but I do think you should make accommodations for your level or for your particular circumstances, of course, because that wouldn't really be fair. So if for some reason you feel that audiobooks is the way to go, then by all means do it. You'll still get benefit out of this challenge. Don't get too hung up with that part, even though sometimes this challenge does get kind of hung up in those particulars. But I think that you be fine if you just hit audiobooks. Personally, I think I'll be supplementing audiobooks in addition to the 10 pages of physical book reading. I have a subscription to Audible. Since I work like a desk job, I have a really easy, not easy, but I have the opportunity to put headphones on as a software developer and code and just let stuff play. And normally I would do podcasts or listen to music, but I can also just turn on the audiobooks so I can get through a book in a day or two. So in 75 days, you could get through 30 books, maybe probably less than that, because some books are of course are longer in the audiobook realm, especially if you're going to do nonfiction, not nonfiction, especially if you're going to do some sort of fiction like Game of Thrones. You're not going to finish that in a day or two in the audiobook. I think that's like a 30-hour audiobook or something crazy like that. Do what you are capable of and is sustainable for you for these 75 days. An additional rule. Now, the challenge actually says zero compromise on the rules that they set, but I'm going to change that a little bit here. And I know you might be like, well, that is a compromise, but because like I said before, some people may not have the ability or the means to read 10 pages of a physical book every day, but you can do audiobooks. I'm going to say zero compromise to what you set for yourself. So if you committed to drinking half a gallon of water a day instead of the gallon, then that's what your goal is. Or the audiobook as opposed to the physical book, that's your goal. And that's the thing you shouldn't compromise on. The other part of this is that it says that if you fail one of the 6 challenges that I laid out earlier, you start back from day 1 and climb back up to the 75 days. So if you're 15 days in and you fail one of those, you start back at 1 and have to work your way up to 75 days again. So you have to think about this long term, and this is where the mental part comes in. It's going to be you dedicating yourself for those 75 days that you will not compromise on this. Otherwise, you're going to have to start over again, and those 75 days could turn into 100 days, 200 days, 365 days. But this is just a smaller challenge. We want to keep this at exactly 75 days and then see where you feel after that. I'll be starting this on Monday, October 11th, which would coincidentally make my 75-day target on Christmas Day, which seems like a perfect day to end the challenge and enjoy a cheat meal or something. So please join me if you'd like to take on a mental and physical challenge this year that is not tied up with things like New Year's resolutions and empty promises to yourself. I'll be providing updates on my progress in the challenge as the weeks go on. And if you like the channel and want to see more videos, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.